see you, but I can hear you.
Can you see me now?
No.
No.
No. It's probably best for, as I say, if they're children, children watch this. Don't want to scare them, you know.
Right, guys, we're back again. And yeah, a defeat, the first defeat of 2019. And there's a lot we've got to get through tonight. I don't know where to start. I think we'll just get on to the match. But tonight I'm joined by James. How you doing, James?
I'm fine. How is everybody? Everybody all right?
Not bad, mate. You?
Fine, thank you. Hi, Lee, you all right?
We're doing you okay? You all right?
Yeah, you.
And as you can tell, joined by Lee as well. He just joined us.
How we doing, lads? All right?
Not bad, mate. You?
Yeah, not too bad.
Well, I've been better, I've got to say.
Yeah. Result-wise, yeah. Performance-wise, yeah. And obviously, John, I'm joined by John as well. How you doing, John?
Not bad, mate. Not bad. You all right, Lee?
John, you all right?
Yeah, sound, mate. Not bad at all.
Good. Life all right?
I'm still covering from last night, mate.
Shouldn't go out drinking with Claude.
No, it's dangerous. Dangerous game, mate.
Yeah, dangerous game.
Oh, I'll end up divorced soon.
That a bad thing? No, well, basically, yeah, go on.
With Claude, he's always saying, like, you know, oh, stay for one more. He's murder, like, you know.
Yeah, he done that trick for me last night, mate. It was like, and all of a sudden the singles went to doubles. I was banging trouble, Lee, I tell you. I was holding on to the bar at the end, mate.
Oh, dear. That's what the Arsenal does here, Sue.
I needed a drink after that pile of
shit. After that yesterday, needed one.
Yeah, we'll get talking of yesterday in the result. What was people's opinions on the actual performance itself? Getting over the result, the performance itself.
What performance?
Well, apart from after the first 20 minutes, where we looked okay. It's like 20 minutes. As soon as we hit the 20-minute mark, we sort of let West Ham have a foothold in the game, and then we never got back into the game. It's like you could see the goal coming at West Ham. The worst thing is we made Nasri look world class again.
I just don't think at the end of the day we I don't know about anyone else. I don't think we turned up. I don't think we showed any bottle. I don't normally like having a dig, Lee knows. I don't like having a dig at the Arsenal, but I was quite ashamed to be an Arsenal fan yesterday because there was a lot of prima donnas and the team for me weren't right. I was watching like with 3 minutes to go. There was no urgency.
No,
3 minutes to go. We had a throw on, and the geezer was it? Can't remember who it was now, but someone was going to get the throw in, and they're just strolling along to the ball. You know, just not rushing, nothing. I think
that might have been Bennett. I think. Don't hold me to that, but yeah, I think it was at least not just like yesterday. It was like a recent thing of Emery. His starting 11 has been a bit questionable. Like, fair enough, you dropped Ozil for whatever reason, whatever issues you've got with him. But if you're not going to play him, you need some sort of creativity to link up between Iwobi, Aubameyang, and Lacazette. If you don't have that, we're not going to get nowhere.
And also not having Ramsey in the side as well. If
that's what I'm saying.
If you're going to leave Ozil out, then play Ramsey. You know, from my point of view, the take on it yesterday, I felt from the word go, there was the fans were down. Everything was down about the game. I don't know if it was because it was early kickoff or because of what Emery had said a couple of days ago. But the fans are deflated. I think the players were deflated because of it. And then I honestly felt at half time, I know it wasn't a great performance, but sometimes that's how you win away from home. You keep it tight first half and then go and take them second half. So I'm thinking, right, you know, that ain't a bad first half. If we can turn it on second half, within 3 or 4 minutes, we've conceded a goal and the game changes. But we had enough chances to win that game as far as I'm concerned. And then afterwards, I think it is I think Emery's got a massive problem now. I really do with the Mesut Ozil thing. You cannot keep saying, I'm leaving him out for tactical reasons.
No.
When you're losing games. Whether you love Mesut Ozil or not, he's taking up £350,000 a week. Now, that in itself merits you to at least be in the 18. Whether I'm starting or not is another issue, but he should be getting on our bench There's no two ways about that.
Not just that. You're right what you say, but if you're also saying it's for tactical reasons, well, them tactical reasons are clearly not working.
Exactly, because you're losing games, Johnny. That's the point. You know what I mean? See, why come out there and say that? And what it's doing now is it's making a divide between the fans and, you know, people are, you know, fans are saying this about Mesut Ozil, you know what I mean? You've got it's like the Wenger in and Wenger out. It's the Ozil winning out now, and it's ridiculous, you know. You just want to see us getting back to where we were, and the fact that he keeps leaving him out is fair enough if there's logical reasons towards it. But to say it's tactical, and then you can't beat West Ham away from home, then you've got a problem. We couldn't beat Southampton away. We couldn't beat Brighton away. So Mesut Ozil was involved in those games, and you know, so you can't keep saying, all right, so you can say that that's the reason. You know, I do believe now, you know, the injury is a fake injury, because you can't continually keep saying it's for tactical reasons and you're leaving him out. I think it's a massive problem, and it's overshadowing what's gone on in the previous before Christmas now, and it's got to be sorted, but guys, because if it's not, we're going to carry on going down this route, and we you know, look at Manchester United today. You know, if people were criticising Man United and whatever, I would love to see Arsenal put a performance like that in. Well, I haven't seen Arsenal put a performance in that like that for years, boys, for years, and you know, and that's what we're competing up against.
I wonder if Emery is generalising when he says tactical, because I've watched some of his press conferences when he was at Sevilla and when he was at Valencia, and obviously speaking in his own language, he's a lot more clear and he's a lot more in depth. I don't know if he's just generalising, oh, it's tactical and that be that. I thought with the defence as well, the goal was avoidable. I think our back line has got to start to take collective responsibility. Defending is collective. You know, and they've got to start to communicate better. I mean, I saw, you know, you see the body language of some of the defenders when West Ham are having their chances. The body language was one of, what are you standing there for? What are you doing that? What are you doing this for? Whereas I know going back when you had the likes of Adams, Bowl, Dixon, it was all everybody working, Keogh, and everybody working in unison. I wonder if that back four can communicate properly. And I mean communicate, not just in the sense of pointing where people have got to go, but verbally opening their mouth and saying, no, I've got you, I'll help you here, you go and sort him out. Set pieces, for example, in organising where to stand and what exactly to look out for. Because you have times with that back line, I wonder themselves, are they zonal marking? Are they man marking? What exactly are they doing? Are they trying to take initiative themselves to sense danger? You know, the simple things of, when in doubt, put it out. You know, it seems a bit bitty at times.
We talk about this week in and week out, and even I, as I say, I don't like mocking the Arsenal or having a go. But even I've got to say now, how many fucking times have we got to talk about Arsenal defending?
Yeah,
it's getting a farce.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
It is embarrassingly, and it's starting to get on my nerves now, because at the end of the day, and another thing. Why do other clubs like Bournemouth or whatever, they go up to these big clubs, they'll lose 2-1, 3-1, whatever, but they don't get embarrassed. They go up to Arsenal, go to these games, Liverpool away, Man City away, we get spanked. It's like arse goes. But Arsenal should be putting up, the smaller clubs are putting up more of a fight than what we are.
Well, they've got you know, even when teams come to the Emirates, John, you know, like you can name them. Fulham, for instance, you know what I mean, have got an awful defence, but you know that they was in the game at 1-0. Oh, it went 2-0. They made it 2-1. You're so right. Teams are coming in. We're finding it. You know, Burnley, very, very hard to break them down. A bit of Mesut Ozil magic broke them down. You know what I mean? But as you're saying, why aren't we setting up like that? Why are we not setting up? You know, with these defenders and no disrespect to these smaller clubs. Their coaches or whatever are setting them up with a system, and they're going along with it and playing it. But we've got so much better players, or supposedly, and we can't do it. Yeah, you know, we can't do it. And you know. And the one thing that really does bug me more than anything else is that it's mistake after mistake. Now, what I'm saying is, yesterday I thought if you have a look at the Iwobi chance, it's, you know, he should have scored, get it on target. But the build-up play to it is absolutely brilliant. It carves open a good, solid defence, you know, that's been worked on. Other teams are not doing that against us. It's what we're giving them. We're giving them chances. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I've seen Podbask put a wonderful ball into Rashford today for him to score. You know, no team's doing that to us. And you think, God, what a good pass, what a good finish. You know, got to hold our hands up to that one. That's a great goal. It's all basic, silly individual mistakes. And I'll tell you what is our worst thing is when we're trying to clear the ball, the panic in our defence. You know, I mean, professional footballers, they can't clear, let alone get to the halfway line. They can't get 10 yards up the half. I see Mustafi yesterday. He's running down the line, going towards our corner flag. He's got a chance to clear the ball, and I mean clear the ball, get it over the halfway line, and then gets them turning and can get us set up. It's going 15 yards straight to a West Ham player, and we're under the cosh again. A professional footballer, 15 yards, and can kick a ball.
And we're talking about a 35 million.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. World Cup winner.
Yeah. Obviously didn't clear the ball very often, did he? Like, you know what I mean?
It just shows you Per Mertesacker weren't that fucking bad, was he? Because when you look at the fucking Mustafi, I mean, sometimes I don't want to pick him out, but it's time and time again that geezer. You know, sometimes he has a good game, but he is fucking prone there. I tell you, he makes the odd mistake here and there, and it's drastic. It's bad. Yeah. He panics. We really miss Rob Holding.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely, Johnny. Absolutely. I mean, I mean, you think of how much he's grown, and you know how important he was, especially in the 22-game unbeaten run. But going back to Mustafi, and we've often said about the scouting and identifying players, I wonder when they're looking at players, do they actually look at the previous history of a player? Do they actually look at what's gone before rather than the actual club they're playing at? Because in the case of Mustafi, I think he was at Everton for a short while, didn't make the grade at Everton, went to Sampdoria, had a few good games in Sampdoria and was bought by Valencia, was never pulling up any trees in Valencia. I think it was just a stable side.
I think we don't problem scouts.
I just think they're either they need to dig a little bit deeper, you know, and look at maybe what's gone before rather than just say, "Oh, we'll have him 35 million done."
Boys, be honest, James. Be honest. Is Gabriel a better defender than him?
Yes.
Yeah,
but we got rid of Gabriel. We got rid of Gabriel we bought him for 10, got rid of him for 10 or whatever. And look, listen, Gabriel's not the answer. I'm not saying that he is, but what? Who sanctioned that decision? Who made? You know, I mean, I would have rather kept Gabriel.
Yeah.
And you know, and by all accounts, he's doing really well in Spain. Different game, different whatever. We know that, but the fact of the matter is, we had a half decent centre half, and we got rid of him and got a. I don't want to get on slagging Mustafi off. He's not a bad player. But Johnny's just said what it is. He's inconsistent. He had a blinding game against Spurs a few weeks ago, and then has an absolute, you know, then he had 3 or 4 poor games, then another 2 good games. You can't be going on like that. A defence needs to be solid. None of these centre-halves, and that's Socrates, Holding, you can bring him into this as well. Holding, you can bring in Koscielny, whoever you want to bring in there. Like, if they was at the club when Tony Adams, Martin Keown, Steve Bold were at that club, you know what I mean? Like, they would not have got a look-in.
No.
Not a look-in. Wouldn't have even made a one appearance. None of them.
Sadly, I've got to agree.
Not one of them.
And I'm a Koscielny fan, or when on his day, I love Koscielny, but I've got to agree. And I'm not being funny, Lee, as well. You probably agree, but I think Gallas is better than all of them.
Well, Gallas is better than all. Sol Campbell, you know what I mean? I know they're different. We're talking well. Arsenal have always had, in my time, going up from the 80s till 5 years ago, if I'll be honest, right? Since Sol Campbell left, I think we'll go to that. I've always seen a good centre half over there. David O'Leary and Willie Young were probably the first two that I remember, but David O'Leary was class.
Yeah.
You know? Along then come Tony Adams.
Yeah.
Martin Keown.
Linnigan
was Linnigan was a good half decent player, you know what I mean, that could come in and do a job, you know. And then you had, you know, like Martin Keown even left because of that, and we brought in Steve Bold. Now, I'm not saying that you've got to go out and scout millions and £1 million players, you know what I mean. There could be somebody in the Championship or in our Premier League that can do as good a job as what I'm seeing from those boys now, and that's it, you know. Now I watched Holding, and he's young, so you're going to have to give him that. Great on the ball, and I think that's where it's probably one of the most accomplished central defenders on the ball. Great first touch, great whatever, but he was still getting caught wrong side time and time again as a defender, which he's going to have to learn. But what worries me about that, he wasn't getting it. He was still making those mistakes week in, week out. But as I'm saying, all these centre arms that with all of that now, you know what I mean, people keep coming up to me and saying that Socrates is a good centre half. He's a good centre half in a bad bunch. You know what I mean? Like, he ain't what I would say top drawer. No. You know what I mean? He's not top drawer. You know, and that's where we are at the moment. And until we get that back line sorted out, you know, the problems won't be there. But in saying that, in the game on Saturday, I do prefer, everybody keeps jumping on the bandwagon of our defence. We missed some very, very good chances yesterday. Very, very good chances, you know. And you've got to take your chances when you're away from home as well. So everybody keeps jumping on the defence bandwagon. But there are other issues in this team as well as that.
Oh, definitely. I've got a question here in the chat from Ian Gallagher towards you, Lee, asking to talk about Pellegrini. Do you think Arsenal should have gone for him after he left City?
Oh,
that's a question, isn't it?
It's a good question. It's a good question. You know, listen, I think, right. Listen, let's not get away from the fact Arsenal were going to give this job to Mikel Arteta, right? That's what they was going to go for, right? And all of a sudden, up pops Emery's CV, you know what I mean? And they thought, oh, blimey, like, you know, so they went down that direction. I think he's a very, very good manager. I really do. He's not in the league, as far as I'm concerned, of somebody like Allegri or a Simone or a Pep Guardiola or dare should I say it, the manager down the road. But he's a good manager. So you know, I feel that, you know, Pellegrini. Look, what I see about Pellegrini, and it's a great point. I've seen him come in at West Ham, and I've seen improvement from the day I've watched them play in the first game of the season to now. They're a very, very good side, and they've brought in some very, very good players, you know, and they've done really, really well. What I'm seeing, that my argument when people say about Emery is that I have not seen no improvement from our defensive side from the first game until now. Nothing's improved. It's still chaotic. It's still, you know, we call them the Keystone Cops now, defending. You know what I mean? It's still something not right there, and there's not been no improvement. Now, we had an argument in the pub, like, you know, people take the mickey. Sam Allardyce and Tony Pulis, right, are slagged off by everybody, you know, for whatever. But when they go into these jobs, within 2 or 3 weeks of a Crystal Palace or a Stoke or a West Brom conceding 4 or 5 goals a game, they're getting clean sheets. Why can't our manager do the same? What? How many clean sheets have we got this season? When was the last time we got a clean sheet in the league?
Yeah,
three clean sheets the whole season.
That tells you it all, James. Tells you it all. Why? You know, this is Arsenal Football Club. Every one of those players is on 100 grand a week, and they can't defend. Yeah. Come on, you know what I mean? And if they can't defend, coach them. And if they can't be coaching, what are they, professional footballers?
Also on a high wage, he's got Lickstein for experience. But look, he's on 90k a week, even though it's for a year. That's still a lot of money. And
ridiculous.
To be honest, he hasn't done nothing spectacular since he's been here. If anything, Bellerman has improved slightly, but Lichtsteiner, being the experience and all we all hoped him up to be, hasn't lived up to it. But I'm just thankful it's only a year we've got him for.
Yeah, it doesn't look as if he's gonna get if he's gonna get extended, does it? But going back to Lichtsteiner when he was at Lazio and when he was at Juventus, winning 7 league titles in a row, both of those changing rooms that he went into were full to the brim with winners. Full to the brim with a winning mentality of if you want to come with us, you got to do this and this and this for us to continue to win, and you adapt. And I think our dressing room at the minute, with the Ozil situation as well, being on such a wage, you wonder going forward. I mean, I've advocated with the news of the loan signings. We have always had a competent and good youth setup. Even in the Wenger years, players that didn't break through to Arsenal first team, they all went on to become Premier League footballers because they were good enough Premier League standard. With the news breaking of only loan moves, I would look at our under-23s and try to bring some of those through. Smith and Willock have been given chances. Daniel Ballard's been getting rave reviews in the under-23s. You've got Ben Sheaf as well. He's highly rated. If we're strong to actually buy players, why not use our youth setup going forward?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We certainly need a winger, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah.
We're lacking creativity. I mean, as I say, Ozil's the only one on his day for me that can open it up. Fuck knows. I don't know what you think, Lee. Fuck knows. The Ozil situation's getting on my nerves, to be honest.
Yeah, it's got to be addressed. I think, listen. I think Arsenal have got to make a decision now. Either they play him in his right position. This is something that I will like to have when people say about Emery is this, the Emery defenders, and I know like Claude's come on certain platforms and been criticised for it, and but because I don't think he really puts out the point what he's trying to say at times. But what my argument is, right, if Emery is such a great manager and whatever, the one time that we have played really well with 2 up front and 1 behind is against Spurs in the second half.
Yeah.
In the game. Now, sometimes as a manager, you can fall upon something. It makes luckily, you might get an injury to a player and you think, I've got to play so and so on the right from right wing, put him in midfield. Oh my God, and he's the best midfield player you've ever seen. You know what I mean? Michael Thomas, for instance, was a right back apparently, and then they put him in midfield, and all of a sudden, he become a great player in the 80s and 90s for us. So you get that little bit of luck. Oh, and it's just happened. He fell on something there against Tottenham where we destroyed, and I mean destroyed, one of the best defensive teams in the league. Right? He's never ever played that system again.
Yeah,
he's never ever played it. He's never played it. Now you could say, right, I'm going to put them 2 up top. They played Aaron Ramsey in there in that second half. We'll put if you don't fancy Aaron Ramsey, put Ozil in there and see what he can do. Two holding midfielders behind and see how it goes. But we've never ever played it since. And I would like to know why. Why? You've got Mesut Ozil on £350,000 a week. You can't. Putting him out on the wings not good enough in the free. Play him in a position that's going to. He's going to make sure it's a fantastic ceiling, by the way, John. Anyway, so. Right. So if a lovely picture as well, of London.
Hey, I just
you're trying to sell that or something? Is that why you put it up there or something?
Just got. You weren't there about fucking hour ago. You know what I mean? I spent all day putting that fucker up.
Had to be straight as well. Had to be straight.
Yeah, well done, So
could be wonky.
But you see what I'm saying about him? So play him in a position that's going to be at his best. Now, listen. If you said to me, right, I'm going to play Lacazette and Aubameyang up front, I'm going to play Mesut Ozil in front. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play Xhaka and Guendouzi in there, or Torreira and Guendouzi behind there, right? And if he doesn't perform after 5 games, then you can turn around and say, do you know what? We've played him in his best position. He's been a complete letdown to us. Let's get rid. You know what I mean? Like, but he might well come and we can see the Mesut Ozil we all know. And then, hey, we've got a player on our hands. But until we do that, you know, we've got a problem. And Emery has got to solve this, guys. You know what I mean? It's no good keep saying this and that. He has got to solve it. And you know, someone said to me yesterday, at the football yesterday, if we sell Mesut Ozil tomorrow, if he got off of our books tomorrow, now I don't know if this is true, I'm just saying that, Arsenal could sign 3 players in this transfer window because his wages would go off the bills and it would mean that we could sign, because it's not about spending 100 million. We could spend 300 million. It's apparently to do with the wages. So if we got Mesut Ozil off of our books, we could sign 3 players on 300 million, and we could do that. So for me there, then, not only is he not playing, he's not in the squad, he's now stopping us from signing players.
It's crazy.
It's you know, what a crazy situation to be in.
The thing is, as well, it's like his performance against Leicester in that second half. I mean, the guy is so annoying because he's technically, Lee, I don't know if you agree with this, but technically, I think he's the best player we've had since Dennis, technically, on his day.
Without doubt.
Yeah,
without doubt.
And I've said that.
It's good as Perez, better than Cazorla, technically.
Yeah.
If I'll be honest, definitely up there. Definitely one of the best, one of the most gifted players I've seen play for Arsenal.
I have to agree, and that's what makes it more and more frustrating because the guy is an absolute talent. We know that. I mean, Ronaldo. Listen to what he said as soon as they sold him. That's
he was all over the place. Yeah, he was gutted.
You know,
so not happy at all.
He's a world-class player. He's a brilliant player, but it's finding that happy medium, as Lee said. You know, it's about putting him in that position. And again, I agree with Lee. You need to play him. Give him 5 or 6, maybe 7 games even. See what happens. Don't move him around. Stick him there. See if he's comfortable. That's what I reckon. And I think you're right, Lee.
Well, also, I talked to my brother as well about this. I don't see us. Emery's, as you said, Lee, Emery's got to sort this out and quick because otherwise, I think Emery could be forced out of a job because looking at it as a marketing side, which Stan probably would do, we've just done a new kit deal with Adidas starting in June. Ozil has a partnership with Adidas, and merger too. You're going to make a load of money. What would you rather do? Lose that or get someone else in who will work with him?
It would be a sad indictment. It would be a sad indictment, Brian, if such a thing was to happen.
I'm speaking of Stan Kroenke, what he is.
No, I understand your point on that, but it would be a sad indictment if that was to happen. You look at the players we've had in the past: Bergkamp, Henry, Brady, Vieira. None of them were ever, bigger than the club. They're all legends of the club. And you can't go from giving one manager far too long to questioning the new manager after only 7 months. I mean, I've often stated since Emery was arrived. You look at what's gone before with Emery. This is a manager that got Almeria into the top league in Spain. Now that is miracle, one of the stuff of miracles. He worked with financial constraints at Valencia and made them a very good side. And then with Sevilla to win the Europa League 3 times in a row, it's difficult enough to win it once, let alone 3 times on the bounce. But we've got to give him time. I mean, as far as I'm aware, he's signed for 2 seasons,
and he will get that.
You've got to. I mean, I can understand your point in the way that Kroenke might be thinking, but Emery's only 7 months into his reign, and it could be that I praise his honesty, in terms of we can only sign on loan in January. He didn't beat about the bush. He was honest with fans, which fans will appreciate. I've always said, even earlier on in the season, I never expected too much activity in January anyway, but in the summer, I expect a fair lot of activity and comings and goings. And in terms of identifying players that we can bring in, I think that'll be very interesting.
Well, James, sorry, John.
Go on, mate. Go on.
No, James, it's very, very good point there about. I didn't think that we'd make too many any business in January, if I'll be honest. But when you lost Denny Welbeck and you've also then lost Rob Holding for the season, that changes things.
It does.
It changes things, you know. So, you know, they're prepared to let Danny Welbeck go at the end of the season anyway. So they must have somebody lined up. If you're prepared to let Danny Welbeck go for nothing, another player, by the way, that we're prepared to let go for nothing, an England international, a World Cup player, World Cup squad player last season, England international, you're prepared to let go for nothing this summer, knowing this. So he goes into the season knowing this. He then gets injured with a season-long injury. You know, in January, this has not just happened in February where you can't do anything. This has happened 2 months ago. You know that by January you need to replace it, because we've got at this moment as our forwards Lacazette and Aubameyang and Eddie. And Eddie is not right to do anything. Now, in one game today with Tottenham, you've seen Harry Kane and Song out of the team for a month. One game. Yeah. That could happen to us in one game. We could lose Lacazette and Aubameyang in one game. Right? What is our fault thinking if that does happen? You've always got to look at the worst scenario as a manager and that. Like these guys are being paid millions of pounds watching football. What happens if them two players get injured?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Where's the thinking in it? You know, you're right what you're saying. So they're just going to say, "Oh, we know we're fucked. We've got to deal with it."
Exactly. I mean, you know what I mean? Now, that's all right saying that, John. You know what I mean? But it's us fans that have still got to go week in, week out, paying their money, right? And then being told by everybody, "Oh, don't be negative. Get behind the team," which is right. That's our job. Our job as a fan is to go to the games and get behind the team. Their job is to get sorted and get a squad decent enough to challenge for top four, for challenging for titles. They're not doing their part of the job. They're not doing what they're meant to be doing.
Correct.
And that is the problem.
Yeah, I don't
know. Again, I know we know very little about him, but the Denis Suarez loan deal is more important than ever now for me because it's a signing. It's the only signing we can realistically get. We know that. You know, the lad's got a bit of pace, the lad's got a bit of skill. If Ramsey's fucking off, you've got to bring him. You've got to bring him in. And we need to get someone on loan as a centre-back. Now, you guys might I think probably Lee will disagree with that, but we are so poor at the back. Lee, would you take Cahill?
Do you know what? Listen, Gary Cahill, right? Listen, how I can put this, right? I did not move to Highbury, to the Emirates 10, 15 years later for Gary Cahill to become a centre defensive. But the situation is at this moment in time, he is better than what we've got.
Correct.
Better than what we've got. You know what I mean? So anything better than what we've got. You know, we've got a great central defender in the ranks in that Dino. I'm just going to call him Dino. I can't say his second name, right? But he's a great centre half. He's going to be a very, very good centre half. But it's like we're relying on Cardozo, right? He's 19. I think Dino's about 20. You know what I mean? You can't be relying on someone at 19 and 20 to come in and take the Premier League by storm when they're in their first seasons of one playing in a different country. Got to get used to the language, got to get used to everything here. And we're throwing these kids in there, like, you know what I mean? And the thing with that Dino is that Dino, I think, has been gutting because I think he would have had 5, 6, 7, 8 games under his belt in the Europa League now to step in. But unfortunately, he's been injured and missed all them. And then what you want then for him to get a real good game under his belt is a nice FA Cup game against one of the smaller clubs. and we get banged into Man United, like, you know what I mean? So you can't take the risk and play him then. So we're really in a catch situation. So Johnny, for me, Gary Cahill, experience, knows what he's doing. But one thing I can tell you that now is that are Chelsea going to say, I'll tell you what, you can have our Gary Cahill and probably could, you know, that decision could or could not make us get top 4. So they're not going to let that happen with us.
Especially if by some miracle we get a result next weekend, which brings us closer back towards them.
Yeah.
Will they want to strengthen in their eyes?
We've got a very good chance of beating Chelsea because we're at home. It's a different kettle of fish.
I know that.
Away games.
It all depends on who's our referee for that game and Hazard. And if our defence panics every time we go to the
if they make the same mistakes,
keep Hazard quiet. You keep Chelsea quiet.
Yeah. Mind you, we haven't been out to keep Ings, Charlie Austin quiet, like, you know what I mean? So it's a bit of a worry.
I was chatting to James on this offline, and I was obviously on Twitter yesterday as well, a few others. Does Stan Kroenke have to take part responsibility for the situation we're in, along with Ivan Gazidis and the past regime? Because everyone's like throwing their 10 pence in. It's all Kroenke. You can take. We all have our issues with Stan. He's the owner. He has to partly take responsibility for what's happened, how far it's got. Does Josh coming over this time last year sort of how can I put it? Basically telling like Josh, this is going to be your thing, part of your let my legacy to you going forward. I need you to go over there and find out X, Y, and Z. Josh has come over. He's realised the mess that's being created behind the scenes by the likes of Ivan and the regime that was, and that's why certain people have left or have been sacked in that quick period. Then,
do you want me to go on that one?
Yeah, go on. Yeah,
you know, listen. My personal thing is, of course, he's to blame as much as they all are. You know, they're all to blame. Kroenke, for instance, you know, I mean, it's all been on Sky today, watching the American football there today. You know what I mean? Like, you know, he's over there. He shouldn't be sending other people over there. If he should be over here with us.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not being horrible. The Arsenal Football Club has got more pulling power than the LA Rams worldwide. They don't, you know what I mean? Like, it's big in America, but other than that, it ain't. Arsenal is a worldwide brand. Why do you think he's over here? Because it's a worldwide brand. So if he's not going to be over here, he gets someone in that from his, you know, circle and makes that go right. You're the man in charge, whether that's his son or not. You know what I mean? Right. So he's capable for that. Right. The second thing that you know, people keep going on to me. Oh, well, you know, he can't do anything now. He can't do anything in this transfer window. He could have done a black and damn sight lot of it in the last transfer window, and he give us nothing. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, like he's given Emery the tools for what? To get into the top 6 and maybe Europe. He hasn't given him enough funds. We all know that we're not. We know a bit about football. We're not saying that but we're no mugs. Supporters are no mugs. They know, right? We all know that team, that squad's, 1 is not good enough to challenge for the title. 2 is not good enough to get second. And 3, it's not good enough to get in the top 4, right? So they all knew that, right? And he never gave the funds in the summer to back that. So as far as me, he is capable for that. Gazidis, right? Let's get on to him. What a blessing it was for him when the Milan job come up, because I'll tell you what now, if that didn't come up now and what's all gone on now, he'd have been sacked.
10 times worse. Yeah.
Totally, you know what I mean? Because, you know, no one leaves you in a transfer window, a club like Arsenal, not being able to buy anybody on any loans. So for that, that's a sackable offence.
The thing is, he knew it was coming because he said,
of course
nothing's going to change. Nothing. He said in an interview, nothing's going to change.
Of course he did. He knew that things were coming, and he knew that, you know, his head was going to be on the chopping block. You know what I mean? Like, bailed out to Milan. You know what I mean? So he's at fault for it. Arsene Wenger, I think Arsene Wenger, when you look on it, has done a fantastic job for Arsenal under the budget that he's gone with. And do you know what? And I say about Arsene Wenger, he took all the shit, right, from fans and everybody, all on him, like that. And he prepared to take that. He took that for a lot of money, by the way, but he took that, right? Yeah. And what happened was, at the end of it, they all sold him down the river at the end of it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like, you know, and let's get the facts true that, you know, he never left. He was sacked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. But the one thing I blame Arsene Wenger for is, and I still say this now, he had the power. Do you imagine 5 years ago, Arsene Wenger that said, do you know what? I want to buy players, but I can't because I can only get loans. The fans would have gone mad. Yeah. And they would have backed Arsene Wenger. And if anybody would have sacked Arsene Wenger, they would have all been protesting. There would have been war.
Yeah.
But he protected them. He protected the board or whatever instead of us fans. And that's the one thing that I blame Wenger for.
I think as well, when you've got an owner that's got multiple sports franchises, you wonder where his priorities lie, and it's quite clear. Brilliant. It's quite clear for me that Kroenke's priorities for him, they lie with the LA Rams. I mean, I think they're on the verge of a Super Bowl. I mean, for them, that's like a utopia. I think they're building a new stadium. You know, Arsenal is just maybe collateral, as you say, Lee. You know, Arsenal is just a brand, but I think for him, the priority is the LA Rams. But you wonder going forward, you know, how about going forward as a club? You know, when I was younger, I've been supporting the club for more than 30 years. When I was very young, I know times have changed, but you never heard a peep out of the board, and there was always doing things in a competent manner. You know, what now with someone who's trying to do things from afar, where it doesn't appear that their heart's really in it. You wonder how this is going to affect us going down the line in future seasons.
The sad thing is they don't give a fuck about the fans, and it's simple as that. They don't care as long as they're making a profit, and that's how it's going to sadly continue for Arsenal Football Club, I feel.
Yeah, Johnny, the point is, and James made a very good point. David Dean made mistakes, but he cared about Arsenal. They're week in, week out. You know what I mean? For the love of the Arsenal. You know what I mean? Now, look, you know, I've got 3 sports that I love. You know what I mean? I love me cricket, Yorkshire fan of cricket. Love me American football, Washington Redskins fan. Love me Arsenal. When Arsenal lose, it hurts me like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. When we win, it makes my day. When the other 2 win or lose, oh, well, they've lost, and I just get on with my day to day. But the one that matters is the Arsenal. Right? It's still, you know, like if for instance, Yorkshire were playing cricket on a game, and they said, "Oh, like you've got corporate here for the cricket, or you can go to the Arsenal." The cricket's gone. Football comes first. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about this on the way home yesterday. If you go on holiday and there's a game of football, you get your right. This is where I'm going to be by the pool for the next 2 weeks, and all right. That's the first thing. Sort of. Second thing, where's the TV? Where's the bar where the Arsenal's on? That's what you do. That's my priority. It's not his priority, as James says. It's the LA Rams. So we need someone like David Dean that cared about Arsenal, that's an Arsenal fan. That's why I'm gutted that the Russian guy didn't come in, because he's there week in, week out following the Arsenal. Now, if we lost to West Ham on Saturday, he'd be going in there and saying, "Why have we lost to these today? What do you need? What do you need, Uri, to make this not to happen again?" "Well, I need a centre half." "Right, let's go and get one." You know, we haven't got that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, somebody said, like, does he even know that Arsenal lost yesterday? Because he's laughing and joking on Sky Sports yesterday. I weren't laughing and joking last night. I sat here with the ump. But he's laughing and joking and having a good time. And that's the difference. It's so totally right. We're all hurting because Arsenal lost yesterday. He's having a fucking piss up because his team has got to the next round of the American, whatever it is.
Just a quick question, because obviously David Dean introduced Usmanov and Kroenke to the club in the first place. Do you think if Kroenke like either Stan top via Josh, when David Dean offered him a role back in the board, would David Dean take it in this current situation?
It's a good question. I think what's David Dean now? If he's 73, is he?
I do.
I think he's about 73. You know, obviously,
it's been out of the game too long, hasn't he?
Yeah, you know,
and
with the age as well, you know, and you think going forward, you know, and also obviously he was vice chairman at Arsenal since '83. You know, and with someone with the age they are, you've got to let them enjoy their retirement, if you like. You know, let them enjoy that period of life. You know, you wonder if they want to come back, and how much would he be able to do from short to mid-term to get us on an even keel again? Really.
Otherwise, who would you? Who else is out there? That the footballing man that could be that sort of mouthpiece between here and to Stan.
I don't even think personally it's irrelevant, because the sad thing is he's taken over, he's in, and he's going to be there for a while. We've just got to fucking deal with it, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, it don't matter. Do as many protests, banners, whatever you want. That geezer clearly, as Lee said the other day, he clearly does not give a shit what any of the fans think. He's smiling, he's laughing, he's joking. So at the end of the day, he's here to stay, and we've got to deal with it as fans.
If he gave even one iota, when his son went to him back in what was it? The first season we fell out Champions League. When his son went to him, Dad, we need to set up this will get out of control. He would have sold up then. You would have thought he would have got out, because that was around the time when Usmanov was trying to buy his shares.
It would be easier now. I know that I'm probably thinking because it's wishful thinking. It would be easier for him to sell up now, owning full membership, than if he just had half. So hopefully, you know what I mean.
Don't do him like actually.
I think Lee I think he would be open to sell, but it's got to be a humongous, ridiculous bid. Yeah. You know, it's not. It's got to be an absolute humongous.
Do you know I
get him to turn his head.
Matthew Flamini.
Yeah, he could afford it, couldn't he?
Yeah, mate. Yeah. Flamini. I'll tell you what, I'll be fucking. He's a gooner. He loves the Arsenal. If Flamini came in, mate, I'd be happy as a pig in shit. Because he talked about it, hasn't he? He's talked about it.
He mentioned it. Yeah. He did mention when he invested in the company he now owns. Yeah. I've got a question from Alex from the Cannon Fodder. He's basically asking, is the fans' anger misplaced, knowing that Arsenal is not in a position to buy any players in this window? Or are we misplacing it in the wrong direction instead of towards the right person?
I'll say this now, that why didn't he, if he knew this was coming, why didn't they make I do blame him a bit, and my anger is towards him, because of the summer we spent £50 million. So in the summer, when we could have spent 300 million, got rid of a few players. At the end of the day, excuse me, he could have got rid of Danny Welbeck, Aaron Ramsey. He got rid of Jack Wilshere. So there's 3 players off of the rank, off of the wage bill straight away. You then
Petr Cech,
then they could have gone. You know what I mean? So that would have freed it up. You then look at it and go, well, he kept Aaron Ramsey on. We drew a contract after the transfer window. You know what I mean?
Then took it off him.
Took it off him. So, you know, there you go. So with just Aaron Ramsey and Danny Welbeck, you took them off of the wage bill, and you'd have got 40 million and 55 million pound for them 2 players. All right. So yeah, I do blame Kroenke in this window, because he didn't do what he should have done in the summer. And that's my blame, you know what I mean? So my anger is towards him and whoever. And people keep going on and blaming Arsene Wenger. Arsene Wenger was not here in the summer transfer window.
No.
Please, everybody listen to that. Keep blaming him. He wasn't here.
Correct.
Mm.
And they fucking won't listen, Lee. They never listen.
No, 'cause
All they do is blame Wenger for everything. And it gets on my tits, mate.
Yeah, but he
You're
wasn't
so
it.
right. You're so right what you say. He wasn't there.
Mm.
At the end of the day, Kroenke, I mean, Arsene Wenger was he was a very well-paid man to keep his mouth shut, and that's what he fucking did. And as Lee said, what the money that he had and what he achieved with it was good money. He did well, but he covered their asses. That board have got a lot to answer for.
Exactly.
Mate. And I tell you what, when Wenger writes a book, it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And it's a sad state of affairs because, you know, the geezer, as I say, we keep going, it is Kroenke. Who else can you blame? Who else can you blame? David D.
Exactly. End of the day, he's a majority shareholder. He's the one that owns the club.
Yeah. And everything that he's owned, well, apart from obviously his Rams now, but everything else beforehand makes a profit and don't win. It's well, there aren't
all mediocre.
He's still making money at Arsenal. Don't get let's not whether Arsenal are in the Champions League or not. He's still making money. Don't think that he's not, because he is. You know what I mean? Like the one people that are not benefiting from it is us fans.
Exactly. And that's what he does. He makes a profit everywhere he fucking goes. He doesn't give a shit about us as fans. We are the small, we're the fodder. They won't say it, but we are to them. We are the fucking fodder. We're the most important ones out there, mate. The fans are the most important. I don't give a shit what anyone says.
I think, as we said off air, there's no point of boycotting going to the home games either, because you'll get yeah, exactly. You have all the tourist fans to go in instead.
I mean, people pay through the nose for tickets, and obviously we get them at membership prices. I mean, obviously I was born and raised in the UK. I chose to come and live in the Netherlands. I commute from the Netherlands to Arsenal for the games every now and again, but I'm not a tourist. Yeah. I was born and raised in England, but you get the fans from all over the world now paying through the nose and paying, in some cases, double or treble what we pay to make sure they get to a game. But they just want the kind of experience kind of thing. You don't hear them being vocal. I remember a couple of years back when I went to a match at home to Montpellier. And we're in the Champions League, and one guy tapped me on the shoulder and he said, "Where are you from?" I said, "From around here." I said, "But I live in the Netherlands." I said, "What about you guys?" "Oh, we're from Singapore." I was like, "Oh," and they were in London on holiday, and they've come to the game, and it's so global now. You've got companies all over the world that have their business ideas of obtaining tickets to sell them at top prices for tourists, you know. And I don't think
that's what we were saying off air, Joe.
A boycott would really help, to be honest.
We were saying that off air. At the end of the day, they don't want fans like fucking me, you, or Lee going week in, week out. What they want is the ones coming over, the holiday makers, buying the arse scarves, getting this and that, and then going to the club shop, spending a fucking lot of money. That's the sort of fans they want. Going into the club shop.
There's a reason why
you're buying a beer.
Yeah, well, there's a reason.
Spending £400 and then the next one comes in. But one of the things that I still think, you know, people don't realise, you know, Adidas kit launch.
Yeah,
I mean, like when it comes out, the kit launch, for instance, no one buys a shirt, right? Do you imagine if every Arsenal shirt that was put on the rails, whether it be in sports shops or at the Arsenal, wasn't sold? Something would happen. Go to the launch kit launch with Kroenke out banners, and you know, every time they come and we want Kroenke out, we want him out, that goes global. Make it as difficult as you possibly can for him. Make it as embarrassing as you possibly can. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you go on an interview, what do you think of the shirt? Yeah, it's great, but Kroenke out. You know what I mean? Anything like that. Do you know, anything like that, just to keep it going, because that's what, you know, you've got to try and do. I don't know what the solution is, but don't forget, you know, if you give up your season ticket, there's 1,000 people who will come and take it. So you cannot do that. You know what I mean? So it's people say, and then people turn around to you and say, "Oh, well, don't go to the games." Well, you know, it's all right. So you spend like £1,000 or £2,000 in the case, sometimes £3,000 on a season ticket, not to go. You're someone's. It's easy for someone that's not got a ticket to say that to someone. Well, you do that. Well, what are you? All right, okay. So what are you going to do then? It's all right saying to Johnny, like you don't pay for your season ticket, but you ain't going to go. So my argument then would go, so okay, I'll do that. I'll buy my season ticket this season, and I won't go. What are you going to do? What's your contribution to it? You know, it's all right saying, you know what I mean? There's 60,000 Arsenal fans that go to the games week in, week out. There's millions and millions of fans that don't. They've got as much right and as much things to say as the 60,000 that go. So everybody's got to be on board of whatever it'll be. You know what I mean? It's no good like saying to Johnny, oh, you don't go to a game. Oh, this is a lovely, look at this Adidas shirt I bought today. Isn't it fantastic? Like, you know what I mean? Because you're putting that into his pocket. Yeah. I go to Arsenal games now. I do not buy a programme. I do not buy a beer in the ground. I do not buy a burger in the ground. I do not buy anything in the ground. I've done that for years. But I will say this, you know what I mean? I've seen a nice cup, you know, Arsenal had spent a bit of money. Oh, that's a nice training top. I'll buy that. I'll have that. So I'm guilty of doing that. Now, as hard as it's going to be, and as great as those Adidas things are going to be, I won't buy them. If everybody else goes down that route, I won't be buying nothing from him. But every single fan has got to do it.
You've got to be on the same page. Be on the same page. As I say, from my point of view with Kroenke, I think the only thing that is going to make him way up, maybe selling Arsenal, is going to be an absolutely humongous bid. And you're talking about eye-watering. And I can't see that happening short term. Fellas, as you know, I'm an hour ahead here. I shall see you guys on Saturday.
Oh, you going Saturday? Okay. Look forward to it, James. Look forward to it.
It'd be nice to catch up with you all. Enjoy your week, and I'll see you on Saturday night after the Chelsea game.
No worries. Have a good week.
See you, mate. Take care.
Take it easy. All the best. Bye-bye.
See you, James.
Bye. I've got a couple of questions in the chat as well. Another one for you, Lee, from Ian again. He's asking, do you miss Sanchez?
Do I miss Sanchez? Yeah. The Sanchez of the first 3 seasons, definitely.
Yeah.
Not last season.
Obviously, that'd be a bit
Sanchez that of those first 3 seasons, who wouldn't?
That had that fire in his belly that wanted to win no matter what cost, I
was a big Sanchez fan, and you know, not so much for the last season because we obviously knew he wanted to leave, but again, shouldn't have gone until January. Should have been when we were talking about this the other day. You know, when that Man City bid come in for Sanchez, we should have said, all right, gone to Leicester and said, how much do you want for Mahrez? 50 million. It's a bit much, and you know what I mean? But we was getting 60 for Sanchez, so they could have actually gone back to Man City and said, look, I'll tell you what, you can have him for 70, and then we'll pay over the odds for Mahrez. Mahrez then would, you know, the reason that Mahrez has gone to Man City is because they didn't get Sanchez, so we could have had Sanchez, and we've been in a much better position than what we are with Mkhitaryan, someone we didn't need. You know, another ridiculous decision. You know, but answering the question, Sanchez, I do miss Sanchez,
And again, with Mkhitaryan, 200k a week for a bit pop, for what we've always do, expect a bit pop play in Emery's plans. What about you, John?
I find it hard talking about the geezer, to be honest, because I like him. I rated him. He was my favourite. Well, he was my favourite player in Czech. But maybe I'm being a bit childish, but I just don't like the way you know, he could have
ended.
Well, in my opinion, he could have gone to Man City to win a trophy, but he didn't. He went to Manchester United for the money, in my opinion.
So, that's good.
I know he doesn't owe Arsenal nothing. I know he's not an Arsenal supporter, so I've got to look at the realistic side there. But I agree with Lee. He was a wonderful player. He had an engine on him. But the last season, he was appalling for Arsenal, and I didn't like his attitude. But that's just me. You know.
I've got another question as well from Alex, because obviously The question he's asking is what we sort of touched on earlier, but he's only just coming. So basically, do the panel think Emery would prefer to sell Ozil ASAP, and why has his absence caused such uproar within social media?
Well, he's got a big fan base. Is one of the reasons for that. You know what I mean? And whether you look at whether you like Ozil or not, he does divide opinion. And listen, if Emery wanted him, he'd have been at least on the bench for that game there. You know, I mean, as a manager, if I was a manager and your best player has just come back from injury, you'd definitely get him on the bench even if he wasn't fit, because you just turn around just to have a look at look, Ozil's on the bench. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you think De Bruyne is 100% fit at Manchester City? No, but he's on the bench, isn't he?
Yeah.
So that tells you it all. So, you know, if Emery could get rid, he would. Don't know if you agree with that, Johnny.
John? Oh.
Looks like he's froze out.
The wonders of technology. Yeah. There's always on my channel as well. Last week, last week I got booted off halfway through the show. I got booted off my own show halfway through.
That's not good.
Oh dear. No, looking forward now, going into Chelsea. Do you think Ozil will be in the squad going into that now?
Yeah, I think
media as well.
He's going to have another week's training. He's got to be in the squad. Whether he'll be in the team or not is a different thing, but he'd definitely be in the squad. And what was say? It's a different. Sorry?
I was going to say, what would your starting 11 be as well?
Well, starting 11, as I say, I would go with that 3-5-2 situation. I would go with Leno in goal, a back three of Monreal on the left, Socrates and Mustafi. I would then play Cardozi and Torreira as my two holding midfield players. Aaron Ramsey in behind
them two.
Lacazette and Aubameyang, and Kolasinac and Bellerin would be my two wide players. Two wing backs. Yeah, that's what I would go. Xhaka, I'm fed up with Xhaka now. It makes too many mistakes.
Yeah, that's another thing that's got to be dealt with. Either he goes this, either we somehow by some miracle get offloading this window.
And the other thing is, Cardozi has got to be told by somebody at the club to stay in his position. You know, he was everywhere yesterday, and that's the enthusiasm of a youngster. But he was on the left side, right side, everywhere but his positions. He's got to stay in his position and be disciplined. And if he's not going to do that, then I'd bring in Maitland-Niles.
I've got another question from Alex, again to you, Lee. Do you think Emery tinkers with the formation just a bit too much at times?
I think he has over the last few games.
And that's confusing the players.
Yeah, I think he has over the last few games. I think that he's shown that he's a little bit desperate, if I'll be honest, to try and get things right. I think that he got things right at Tottenham, and then he didn't go with it against Man United. In that game against Man United, unfortunately, we got a couple of injuries that day, but that restricted him. But I do think that he has tinkered with it a little bit. I think that, if I'll be honest, he doesn't know how to get the best out of the two up front. I thought they were both poor yesterday when one's played. Yeah. Lacazette's been left out. Aubameyang's done well. When Aubameyang's been left out, Lacazette's done well. Getting him into the team at the same time hasn't worked. And then to try and get Ozil into that team as well. So it's very, very difficult for him. And I think that he is finding it very, very hard. Hopefully, he's going to have a couple of days breather now to just sit down and say, right, we've got 3 home games on the spin now, all different, 2 league games against Chelsea and Cardiff and Man United in the Cup, 3 home games. We've got to be positive, trying to keep the same team. Touch wood, we don't get no injuries, and go with that team. I do believe that is a good point. We've got to. I think he is tinkering with it a little bit too much. to try and keep people happy. But as a manager, you know it's about results, and don't worry about keeping people happy.
What also frustrates me as well is, as you said, touched back before about the Tottenham game. If you look, compare the two teams since that game, form-wise, you would have thought it was us on the receiving end of 4-2 defeat.
Blown up in our face, took
too
much out of us or whatever, and believed in our own publicity or whatever. Good teams, would have just dusted themselves down and go again.
Yeah.
And continued to things. I think that was a great result for us. We played really, really well that day, but the Southampton game, I think, dented our confidence. I'll be honest, and that really did give us a bit of a, because don't forget we lost a few. We got a few. I think who was it against in the? Was it Burnley? I can't remember. I don't think it was Burnley. We had all our defenders injured going into that Southampton game. Do you remember our suspender? I can't think who was playing.
Huddersfield.
Was it Huddersfield? Yeah, we lost everybody that day.
Mustafi, Socrates to suspension and injury.
Yeah,
then rushed back.
So we had to rush them back. Lost our confidence. We lost Bellerin that day as well. I think that didn't help. I don't think this helped, if I'll be honest. All of our back three and all of our defenders getting injured from Monreal, Bellerin. They've all had injury spells out the side. You have a look at the teams at the top. Liverpool, hardly any injuries. They've had a couple now, but their mainstay of three have always been there, and the goalkeeper. We've had the whole back line taken away from us at one stage or the other. So that's been very, very difficult for Emery. Let's not get away from that. But ultimately, we're 7 months into his reign, and he doesn't know what his best team is.
Yeah, and also he's given it seems he is giving certain players, as the saying goes, enough string to hang themselves.
Well, then hang on and get rid of them.
Yeah, exactly. I've got to say now, after obviously recent results as well, has your optimism going where we finish in the league on as our season as a whole changed since yesterday?
Yeah, I think it has. I always felt we would challenge for the top four. I didn't say that we was going to get into it, but I felt that it would be going to the wire that it was. But I think that within the next 2 weeks, Man United will be above us because of our next two. With our three next league games are Chelsea, Man City, and Cardiff. You can write off Man City straight away.
Oh yeah,
that's going to be another Liverpool game for us.
Yeah.
If we drop points against Chelsea, then Man United will be above us. And
obviously Cardiff as well.
Yeah,
and we could be at the cup as well.
This moment in time, we're 6 points off the top. Top. I wish it was 6 points off the top. We're 6 points off the top. So we top four. We could actually get that down to 3 if we beat Chelsea. So we're still challenging for it. If I was a betting man, and you're saying put all my money on it, then I think that we'll end up probably 5th or 6th. I've always said that the way for the Champions League for us is the Europa League. That's the way we've got to go for it. And what I would have liked was not to be putting all our eggs in that basket like we did last season. Like going into the latter rounds of that, still in with a chance of top 4. So if things didn't go for us, we had a chance.
Yeah, I was about to ask you that. If the worst thing happens next Saturday and we lose, that leaves us 9 points off them. Then you've got, obviously, if Man United went 3 points off them and they're in 6th, does Emery then go ahead and go, okay, I'm putting everything into Europa League?
Well, they
did last year.
They'll have to. We've still got to try and get as high as you can, but I think then it's there. And, you'd have to look at the squad on a whole and say that it's failed. That this is the thing. You've got to look at it, right, that we can't sign any players because of our wage bill.
Yeah.
so high, and we can only get 6th place in the league. Something's not right.
Yeah.
Players are not good enough. You know, part of me says now, get rid of some of them now. Just sign up. You know, get them off the wage bill. Give them their contracts and sign them off. You know.
How long's left on Jenkinson's contract? Do you know? Is he signing that as well?
He finishes this summer. So give him his money. Tell him to go. You know. Yeah. You have to look at it. You know, sentimental. Giving Mertesacker and Santi Cazorla another year when they never played for us.
Yeah.
You know, all little things like that have come back now, and you know, and bit us because we now can't sign the players that we want and
we need,
and we're just going to have to, you know, accept that. You know that we're not going to buy. No, I don't think that we'll buy anybody this. You know, like the Suarez one is to replace Ramsey anyway, so that's we're not improving in any way. You know, we're just replacing
like for like sort of thing.
So like for like, yeah. So you know,
the only positive of that is that he's played under Emery before at Sevilla. That's the only positive.
Yeah, you know, and hopefully it'll work out. You never know if he's another gem like the rest of the, you know. Let's face it, you know, like Torreira and Leno, I think they've done well. We'll have to wait and see.
That's another thing about our fan base. So as soon as a goal goes in, it's Leno's fault. It's like they want to get on Leno's back straight from the off. And if it was Czech in goal, it's the same situation.
Very fickle. Arsenal fans have always been very fickle. Don't think it's been a trait over the years.
No.
It's always been there, but there's more frustration with the fans now because when you're spending the biggest amount of money, you know, and
how much the club is making on a daily basis,
it's like, you know, you're going into the Ferrari garage, buying a Ferrari, but coming out of an Escort, but paying that money. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you're doing at the minute, and you know, and it's exactly it. You know what I mean? They're not. You're spending out for a Ferrari, but you're not getting that, and so it is going to be more frustrating. You know, and I can't see an end of it, and that's what's the heartbreaking thing. You know, the fact of the matter is that Arsene Wenger's gone. You now know that it's not all down to him. There's other people involved as well, like, you know.
Yeah, and also Gazidis was part of that, and he's left on.
He has, like, you know what I mean. So
looking forward to the summer now, and obviously, apart from the players that are coming to the end of their contracts, that's seen not to get a new contract. Apart from them, the ones that are leaving, what players in this current squad would you want to be sold in the summer?
I want to be sold. Well, I would offer Czech another deal as a coach, goalkeeping coach. Mustafi, I don't want to see playing for Arsenal next season. Lichtenstein, I don't want to be seeing playing for Arsenal next season. Koscielny, I don't want to be seeing playing at Arsenal next season. I don't want to see Xhaka there next season.
No,
you know, I don't want to see Mkhitaryan there next season. Ramsey, I would like to see there, but he's not going to be there. Ozil's not going to be there as well. So there's a clear out. Jenkinson's another one. That must be 9 players that I've mentioned that have got to be taken out. Now, you ain't going to be able to take 9 players out and replace it with 9. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's going to be a very, very difficult season next season, and for two or three seasons. And if you're not going to be able to make any transfers in January for this season and maybe next season as well, then we're in real trouble for 2 or 3 seasons. It's going to take us 2 or 3 seasons to clear up this mess, and that's how it's going to be, mate, I'm afraid.
Yeah. And also, just a little touch, Liverpool, when Klopp took over, he was in a similar situation with the squad that he inherited. The club wanted one thing, but he didn't have the squad. He knew straight from off they weren't capable of doing.
He had players that he could sell, mate.
Yeah.
That's the difference. You know what I mean? Like Brendan Rodgers with Coutinho.
Yeah, exactly. Back down to that.
Certain players, you know. So
the fact that the board itself were savvy enough to put certain players on certain contracts, wanting to leave or not, get them signed up and go, well, if you sign this now, give it 6 months to a year, we'll give you that move that you want. And obviously looking after themselves at the same time. But we haven't whatever went on with Gazidis and everything else, the past regime, they didn't seem to want to do. They didn't seem to do that. It was just like, okay, just run it down, run it down, run it down. Eventually, no one's gonna come in for you. You'll panic and you'll sign up for us. And it backfired in the terms of Sanchez, because then we had to, with 6 months ago, swap him for Mkhitaryan.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the trouble. It's been badly managed from top to bottom.
Yeah,
and we're going to have to sort that out. Right, listen, I've got to go now.
Yeah,
so, if that's
I was
okay.
about to wrap up anyway. Thanks, Steve, for coming on.
Brilliant. No worries. Really enjoyed it. Like, good chat, like, you know. So
yeah, no worries.
Get a bit off your chest. That's what you got to do, like, you know.
Oh yeah, times like this got to come together and
that's it.
Flash it out, sort of thing.
Flush it down. That's all it.
And move on to next Saturday. I'll be down there as well next Saturday. I'll see you down there as well.
Okay, yeah. I shall look forward to it. Like, yeah.
Cheers, Lee.
No worries. Cheers, mate.
Bye.
Bye.
And obviously that's it. That's the end of this show now. If you're watching this back, thank you. Hopefully you can share it out. Hit the like button as well. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Hit the bell so you don't miss next week's one, because next week I've got the lineup, my panel already sorted up. I'll be announcing it in a second. And yeah, if you have any questions, I keep saying this every week, but for some reason I keep forgetting to do it. I will be putting everyone that's mine, James, Lee Judges, and John's social medias and where you can reach us all in the description below. About 20 minutes time. And give us, if you don't follow us as well. Got any questions, either leave it in the chat below or message us or follow. If you follow us, we will follow you back, and just DM us and ask us anything you want. If you want to come on, if you're an Arsenal fan that wants to come on in, vent out your opinions on the state of Arsenal or review a certain game, again, follow me, I'll follow back. Then you can DM me, and we'll organise something as well. But yeah, next week's panel, I've got Kenny Ken coming back on, Lee Judges again, John, James, and there's one other, but wait for him to confirm. And that again will be this time next week at 7 o'clock for the Chelsea review, because obviously it's a Saturday game, as I probably didn't really go into last week from that, because obviously I started the season where I was just doing it on Monday nights. I'm not going to put it. From now on, when it comes to the league, if a game falls on a Saturday, I'll be doing the review on the Sunday. If it's a Sunday game, like the late kickoff, for example, I will do the review on the Monday night at 7 o'clock. It just differs time to time. And I am looking to do other things in this channel. Just got to talk to people and sort that out. And then once I know more what's going on there, I'll let you guys all know, and we'll just go on from that. But yeah, again, thank you for either watching it along live or watching this back. I appreciate your support. And again, as I've already said, if you haven't already, subscribe now. Hit that notification button so you don't miss next week's show, any other show, anything else that will come up on this channel. Until next time,